south side is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.
Just know this is the land of your ancestors. You feel it, fam. And it's the same way when you bang the drum. Do you know them ones, like when you hit, I've been in moments in drum circles where I can hear my ancestors singing and chanting and dancing along with us. You know them ones, like, and so to have made it to this point where, whether it's Igbo culture, whether it's Yoruba culture, whether it's Lugandan culture, do you know them ones, all of these things, but once you're willing and able to open up to the possibility that you're not only Grenadian or Jamaican or English or British, as some of us love to say, do you know them ones, yeah? That Africa is our spiritual home, that all other parts of the world we have connections to, Venezuela, you know them ones, Brazil, all these places, East Asia, we're connected, fam. We're because again, it's this oneness. Do you know them ones? Like the way that you can connect with the spirit through the practices that were defined by our ancestors. It's like anything's possible. Anything is possible, bro. You know them ones when you walk. You know, there's a lot of people who talk about walking with an army of ancestors. It's real, fam. It's real. People talk about who Jah bless, no man can curse. It's real. You know them ones, and a lot of that is to do with perspective. You know them ones. No matter what happens to you, no matter how bad and fucked up it can be, but think what our people have been through and survived, and all the way through it we danced and we drummed and we loved. You know? Yeah. It's powerful.
That's right. You know, as a multidisciplinary artist, how do you balance different artistic mediums such as music, storytelling and performance to create a cohesive and immersed live experience for your audience?
It's difficult, bro. It's tough, but I think the real key to it is collaboration. You know, there's a lot of skills that I don't have. Right. You know, loads of skills that I don't have, and you know, I've contributed to I'd say to everything that's in the project. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't have the beats if it weren't for Parky making the beats that he made. I wouldn't have been able to record it to the quality that my brother Al, who's the engineer, recorded it to. Do you know them ones that I can't do metal work. My sister Roxanne does the metal work. Do you know what I mean? I can't paint, bro. I feel like I stopped doing visual art when I was a lot younger because you know them ones people who can draw, and if you can draw and you can make the whatever you're drawing, the Ninja Turtle look exactly like the Ninja Turtle. To me, that was someone who could draw. That was an artist. You know them ones. I was like, I can't do that, so I'm not that. You know them ones. But the way that I've contributed to the paintings that have been done by creating something for somebody to paint, you know what I mean? I've been involved in all of it, but there's so much things that I can't do. And when you, again, I think even that is like a lesson, you know what I mean? That if I want to put together an immersive theatre production and visual and sonic exhibition, I can't do everything. Do you know them ones? So if I can't do everything, how am I going to do it? I need to link with people who can. Right. And you know, that as a way of living, the exchange, it's not even about paying people a lot of the time. It's about being like, you know, I make sure that everybody gets paid and there's a respect because of the world that we're in. Do you know what I mean? I work very hard to be able to make sure that everybody gets paid what they should be getting paid. But then if there's moments when the funding hasn't come in or everything ain't gone right, people are so connected to the project, like, you know what, we got you, we're going to do this anyway because something's going to come later. Do you know them ones? And that's why we can move in the way that we move. Yeah. Because it's bigger than money, it's bigger than being paid, it's bigger than any individual show or situation. Everybody involved gets what we're trying to do. Do you know what I mean? And so they're willing to put their life and their time and their skill into this thing because they believe in the mission. And again, you know, whether that's coming from me or from something else, they come with these phenomenal skills. And you said earlier, but you're right. Like I like to think that I'm humble. Do you know them ones? I try to be humble. I strive to be humble. Do you know them ones? Because to me, it's not about me. None of it's about me. But at the same time, I struggle with you know, I struggle with bigging myself up too much because I see incredible things that other people do and be like, yo, that's amazing. I'm not that necessarily, right? But this project again has been the first thing I can just say, you know what, it's absolutely phenomenal, right? Because it's not just me doing it, right? Do you know what I mean? I know that every single person involved in this thing is spectacular at what they do. You know what I mean? And they can do things that I'll never be able to do. So if we come together with, you know, we're talking about a good 30, 40 phenomenal artists working on something together. If I'm the glue that's holding that all together, the thing is incredible. Do you know what I mean? And
which makes you phenomenal, because the same way that you're giving them their flowers, which you should, you know what I mean. When I hear that, I'm just saying, like, again, it could never have happened if you wasn't the nucleus to flip him, align it, and bring it all together. But anyway, that's not for you to. I like the fact that you're humble, because that's for us to champion you, clap hands, and say well done. Because again, to me, like from the outside looking in, I'm like, there's only certain amount of things where I think I wish I flipping thought of that first, or because I'm a person that writes a lot. I write scripts and stuff, so I do a lot of stuff like that. But I never actually I did think of doing stuff in the theatre, but I never actually put pen and paper down together. So to see you on the path and you're actually doing it, I'm saying this guy's gone clear.
Appreciate it.
Because a lot of people speak it, but they don't do it. So you know, you're actually doing, and that is, you know, when they're saying everybody wants to be like God, like whatever, God does, you can be like what God does. God creates. So that's why I was saying to you, you're doing God's work, because you're creating and you're not getting caught up in the ego. You're just doing it, and you're making sure it's getting done to the highest degree you're capable of. Brother, that's to get salute, man.
I appreciate you.
Get me?
Definitely, man. But bro, this is the thing as well. You ain't done it yet. You got it in you to do it whenever you're ready. You know them ones. Literally, whenever you're ready. You know them ones. And when the things, I think it might have even been Pharrell, you know, who I saw. Someone said this thing, when they were like, an idea isn't your idea. It's never your idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. The idea is just out there, floating in the world, ready to be brought into this realm. You know them ones, yeah. And it comes to you. If you don't do it, it will go to someone else. Yeah. You know them ones. You know, some people will be like, "Oh, that guy stole my idea."
Yeah,
it was never your idea.
Yeah.
You know them ones. If you said it to them, you get me, and they teethed your thing, that's different. You know them ones. But if you're thinking about it for years and someone else does it, you could have done it. You didn't do it. You know them ones, yeah. And because that thing needed to come into the world. You know what I mean? And so, and yeah, man. So it's like, but I know again, your works are powerful, bro. And the way that I've seen you link up. The way I've seen you link up artists who wouldn't have worked together otherwise is one of your major skills, I think. Do you know them ones like that? I've seen you for years work with this person, this on Global Faction, that talk about Australia Day, Invasion Day. Do you know them ones? Like, some people will be like, why is this brother talking about that? Yeah. Because again, it's you're linking worlds to show how much we're in this thing together. Do you know them ones? Like, so bro, whenever you're a powerful brother. Whenever you're ready to do a theatre thing, it will happen. Do you know what I mean? If it's what you want to do. Well,
do you know what? I've got a lot of things that I'm working on, and actually some of them are done. They're just waiting to surface. But you know, like I wrote a book the other day, waiting for that to be done. I'm writing another book. They're both fantasy books, but they're both deeply rooted in what's going on now. I bring in the fantastical because that's what pulls people in.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got a lot of things. I'm working with Chiba in order to do these little scripts that I've written, like 15-20 minute films, and I want to bring them to the forefront in this questioning stuff. When you watch it, it's bound to cause it's an invigoration of dialogue. And you know, without me going on about me, because it's not about me, I'll just say this last piece. I see. The reason why I like bringing people together, do you want me to tell you why? It's because I see us like the Avengers. Ask anybody, I always say this, yeah? I think this is the first time I'm saying it on camera though. I see us as the Avengers. All of the characters in the Avengers are solo heroes. They do their own thing. If you read the comics, they're always doing their own thing. But you see, when they come together, it's shut down. Yeah. And that's how I see, like, right now I'm actually, I've got a tune in store where it's going to have me and 6 other artists. And I think, I don't know why I do it, but I think at least once a year, I always try to grab a whole load of man and I say, let's blitz the track just to, because it's a showcase. Yeah. And we're showing people, we're trying to set a standard of what to expect, what the levels are, who's out there, you know. who's dealing with lyricism, who has something important to say.
Yeah.
So, that's where I'm coming from in the aspect of trying to man them together. But anyway, back to you. I wanted to ask you, how important is your audience, as in the people watching, the participation and engagement in your live performances, particularly in the context of a project like Drummer Warrior Storyteller?
It's huge, bro. Like for previous performances, we've always tried to have workshops aligned with it. So we will, and again, it's something you don't necessarily see because I haven't really put it out there. I haven't really publicized it, but we done a lot of work with schools. I teach at a university, and we work with the university students as well, and we work with elders as well. So it's like we have these workshops where we teach drumming, we teach dance, we teach storytelling. Do you know what I mean?
That's dope, man. So it's not really just about to go and see the show. You lot actually are getting a lot of people involved in many concepts and aspects that they most probably never been involved in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
or even if they have, they might not have done it like this.
Right.
You know, them ones. Or they might not have. I feel like for me, when I was younger, I was always told you have to pick something. Do you know them ones? You're one thing. You know them ones like, so if you're gonna be an artist, you're what an artist is. You know them ones like a drawer. You're that. You know them ones. If you're gonna be a musician, you have to pick this thing. Do you know them ones like, and it boxes you in so many ways. When again, like in African traditions, the drum and the dance and the storytelling are never separate. You know what I mean? And so like to be able to say to someone, it's okay if you want to do all of these things. If you want to, if you consider yourself to be an engineer and an athlete and whatever, do you know them ones are someone who can build something. Do you know them ones like, and also you're good at cleaning. You know them ones like these are your skill sets. Do you know them ones like it's fine to do them things together. So those kind of messages are something we try to put out there in the workshops. And then with the drumming again, it's like the way that drumming speaks to people is I've seen the magic. I mean, you have someone like Demba, someone like Amawale, the Yamala drummers, these incredible women who are part of this project as well, drummers. The way it speaks to people is unlike anything I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? And so to be able to bring that to places and bring that to spaces, it's healing and it just helps to root the work wherever we go. You know what I mean? But the audience to me is like we're trying to break down the barrier between performer and audience. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like we often will try to. We done something at Bernie Grant a little while ago where it was like we'll screen the film, we'll have a conversation, and then it's like, right, we're going to put on a performance. Who wants to drum? Do you know what I mean? And anyone who feels the need, we tend to always make sure there's more drums than there are us. So if people want to get involved, regardless of their skills, Denver will make sure that they follow. Do you know them ones like those drummers are skilled enough to make sure even if someone's going on a madness, they'll bring them back. Do you know them ones, yeah? And then we will dance, we'll freestyle dance, we'll have open mics. I love to do an open mic at one of these sessions because it's like, you know what, if you've never had the opportunity or never felt the need to speak before, here's your chance. Do you know what I mean? We did one at Alexandra Palace with again a lot of things around sort of Tottenham area. It's been really important actually. Beverly from Code One, she put us on at Alexandra Palace, and I wasn't expecting there to be so many children. It was mad. I thought we were sort of working with younger people, but there was like sort of 7, 8, 9-year-olds there.
That's dope.
So we shifted the thing, did the storytelling workshop, and then we just drummed and opened up the mic. And the amount of people who were just, desperate to be on there, just to express themselves in some kind of spoken word was incredible. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like I say, it's not about creating a platform for me to do what I'm doing. It's about, that to me is the real powerful thing when you break that wall and say, you lot come. What have you got to say? You know, them ones. What have you got to say to other people? Because someone in that audience, we talk about that a lot, right? Even if you just touch one person, that's a big thing, right?
This is it.
They might not have even needed to hear what I had to say. They might have needed to hear what that person who they'd never met before, who wouldn't normally be on a microphone, had to say. Do you know what I mean? And so it's again this idea of, the MC or the star or anything like that. If we're in this room together, we're all equal. And we've all got the potential to learn from each other, to grow together, to teach each other, to be the storyteller, to be the drummer, to be the warrior. Them ones, because we're all of those things in different amounts. And so like I'm playing. I'm playing with how we're gonna do that on this show. Do you know them ones? Because this is the first time we're in a proper theatre. You know them ones. We did it at Richmond's before, and we did it by break. The dancers would go into the crowd and be in around them, and you know we didn't do it seated, so people had to move with the show. Do you know them ones?
Yes.
Whereas this one, we've got this 700 capacity, beautiful. Like, big up the people at Earth, man. Like the stage is so stunningly beautiful. So I've got to think about a way that we're going to be able to get them involved, where they're not just watching. You know, them ones like, and we'll do it, man. The way will come. You know, but yeah, it's very, very important to me. And I wouldn't even say audience a lot of time. I would say participants. That's the way I try to visualize it.
That's a great outlook for that. Lastly, how do you hope that your audience will be impacted by experience the Drummer Warrior Storyteller live, and what do you ultimately aim for them to take away from the performance?
That's another great question, man. These are great questions, bro. I appreciate this.
Right.
For me, the best responses I've had from people have been that, you know, that it's changed them in some way. You know, that it's changed the way that they see the world or seeing themselves, you know. And we had some brilliant feedback from the Rhythmic show in particular, from members of the community, and just, you know, stuff people saying like they've never seen something like this before. They've never seen members of the community who they know personally doing something like this before. To me, that's like creates a situation where, yeah, it lets you know that it is possible to do this, you know. I know so many people who have the skills or the ability or the talent or the mindset to be able to do something like this or something bigger than this or greater than this or, you know, equivalent to this in a different field. But like, you know, it's similar to what you said, they don't do it necessarily. Do you know them ones? Like, because it's like, I don't know, they don't know the ways, or it's a confidence thing or whatever. And so to just let them know it can be done, to me, is huge. But then deeper than that, to then go out into the world and be like, I'm gonna implement something like this. Because to me, it's like I said, if you're part of it, even if you haven't even spoke to me about it, you're part of it. If you've come to the thing and you've walked out into the world and done something differently, that to me is now expanding this sphere of this world, this universe that we're creating, the Drummer Warrior Storyteller, where in that sphere, Babylon don't exist. And if it does exist, it exists as a bygone thing. Because a big thing for me is also the reperception of time that I have now. Whereas a lot in sort of Western ways of thinking, English ways of thinking, there's this linear timeline, right? The past, present, and future. Whereas in a lot of African cultures, a lot of indigenous cultures around the world, that's not a thing. Your ancestors are always with you. The future generations are always with you. Time just is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me to try to create this thing where time is of that African indigenous perspective, where past, present, and future are just one. There's just a oneness. If that universe that is being created as I don't even like to use the word alternative, because I feel like the world we're in is one world. This is another world. There's many worlds that exist at the same time, right? This world that we are fusing and creating, when you're in them spaces, the bigger that thing goes, that is us now changing the world. You know what I mean? That is us having the revolution. That is us overthrowing the oppressor, right? Because I think it's difficult to do, and it's easy to say, you know, if bombs are being dropped on your house, if someone's shooting your children in the street, do you know them ones, to just kind of act as if Babylon ain't there. That's not what I'm saying to do. But to be entirely focused on defeating an enemy is a very, very different thing to just getting along with building the world you want, you know? And to me, what this project is a way for us to build the world we want. And so what I would hope happens is that people who experience this and participate in it as an audience member or anyway, they go out into the world and continue to expand that. Because to me, it's like, if I can be anything in this life, it's to be something that sparks one of those ways that we can really change things. I've succeeded. Do you know what I mean? So I've used this metaphor a lot, but like I feel like all those droplets of rain or of water that eventually are gonna become the tsunami that wipes out Babylon and all this fuckery. We can get back to just living.
Real.
We can just be a few of those. If I can just make more of those.
Yeah.
I've done what I come to do, you know.
Again, man, you're doing it, bruv. You're doing it, man. One thing I'll say about you, bruv, like you've always kept it consistent in your character. From when we first linked up and doing what we did, I remember listening to your music. I was like, wow, this guy is very, very powerful, very outspoken, but very articulate. You know, it doesn't sound like you're just spewing. It sounds like you know what you're talking about. And every time I hear of your music, or every time we collaborate, like it necessarily isn't given the same, but the core of the essence is the same. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, and like. But every time it's the same, it's developing.
Yeah.
Every single time, like Duster, we got to this point now of you bringing the drummer, the warrior, the storyteller. It's levels above what you was doing before, but it's still consistent in the same message.
Yeah, I think so, bro.
I just think that's dope.
It's what I tried to. Sorry to cut you through.
No. Go ahead.
It's funny you said that, because I think that about myself. It's interesting because you know, you see some artists who will grow and they'll do many different things, and I love to see people do. You know, I can't think of a point. Someone like Kendrick Lamar, for example, right? That's the way you've watched this brother grow and change and develop over the years. From you know, it's incredible. And you know, different genres, different things, different styles, different things. And I worry sometimes that maybe I'm just saying the same thing, but that's who I am, bro. And it's like you said, it's this. You know, them ones some people call it like the internal monologue, or the conversation that you're having with God, or whatever it is that you're doing. To me, by default, all I'm ever really thinking about is how to do this. Do you know, them ones, like, other things will happen and I have a good time or I have a bad time or whatever else, but I feel like since I was about maybe 15, 16 years old, all I've ever really thought about is how to improve the situation for our people. So I can't really make music about nothing else, bro. I can't really make work about anything else because it would be disingenuous. You know, them ones, like, I'm not one of them people who's looking to go out and have every experience so they can have this broad life and experiences and things everywhere I go, even if it's just to have fun, even if it's just to go and see something. When I'm there, I'm in awe of what the Most High has created. I'm constantly seeing how the society differs from this thing to this thing, and it's all just going into this internal conversation. And so that's always what comes out in my work. And even if I make something that's maybe not necessarily about that in the same way, there's always an element of that, because it's the core of who I am.
And
you know what I mean?
And that's the point of what I'm trying to get at. Because as you're saying all this, I mean, my brain whirs quickly. So as you're saying all this, I'm thinking to myself, see, the levels that you're taking and maneuvering through, again, your character is still shining through. If you was to give him, this is me just guessing, yeah, but I'm saying, if you was tomorrow to say, listen, here's 50 grand, yeah, I see what you're doing, here's 50 grand on top of that, I don't think I would see you, like, you know, on SBTV rapping about, yo, I'm here and I'm on the roads and I'm blinging that. I reckon your level in your character will just go up that next level. You see how you're at that point now of the storyteller, the drummer, the warrior. So if I said that not in the right order, but with your concept there, it's because of where you're at now. If you had the 50 grand on top of that now, where would you be? Yeah. I think it would be in the same vein, but it would just be broader, bigger, better, stronger.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
This is the thing, brother. And it's not to again, it's not even a comparison, it's not a better or worse thing, bro. It's like I had the opportunities to do them things when I was younger. You know, them ones, to be on certain platforms and, you know, sign certain deals and whatever, because we had skill. You know, them ones, the teams that I was running with from young, we had the skill. You got the skill. Man like Watusi and them, they got the skills, bro. And people will come and say, you want to do this thing, and certain times you have to say no. If it goes against who you are, you have to say no. And I've turned down certain things. And even if it doesn't, you know, it didn't necessarily seem that big at the time. It's just like even just that suggestion. Why don't you try rapping about this? And it's like, I appreciate that. I get what you're trying to say. I see what you're saying, but it's not me. It's not who I am. It's not what I'm here for. You know, them ones. And it takes time. And the funny thing is, bro, you say about the 50 grand. It's like we've had funding. Do you know them ones? Like it was a thing where for a long time I was like, I'm not gonna apply for certain pots of funding because I don't want anyone to be able to say that they've got influence in what I'm doing. And it's only when it was Theo, Godson, one of the dancers in the thing. He was one of the early ones who was like, and Steph B as well. Actually, they were like, it's our money. My brother Nee, it was Nee who put it to me. Yeah, he says to me, for the Arts Council in particular, right? That is lottery money and it's tax money. So we pay our tax to this place. They spend it on weapons to bomb Palestinians, to abuse Congo, Sudan, right? That money is sat there, and most of the time it gets used for opera and classical and whatever else. Do you know them ones, yeah? And the rest of it is lottery money. Who plays the lottery? Poor people. So they're taking poor people's lottery money and giving it to opera and classical. They're thieving from us again. You know them ones again. So he's like, you know, if that money is sat there to be used, take it back. You're not asking the government for money. You're taking back our money. Do you know them ones? Yeah. That's so right. I was like, whoa. And the first chunk of money we got was 15k from the Arts Council, and I worked it out that if my parents played the lottery, which they do, if they played the lottery £1 every day since it started, and they played a lot more than £1, that's the same amount of money that they would have paid and I got back. Do you know them ones? Okay. And I've got more than that from them. Do you know them ones? So it's like the next step is to just, you know, I was never one to be like, take the money and do something good with it. Again, I've had to grow into this thing of being like, you know what, if there's money there and it could be used to make, you know, pictures of flowers, I might as well take that money and give it to our community. And that was one of the things. The first film got made during COVID, when a lot of these people, the dancers in particular, they you know, they're freelancers. Do you know them ones? Like, or they're independent. You know what I mean? And so it's like that was a time when people couldn't work. You worked your whole life to become a professional artist, and now there's no money available for you. And one thing I was able to do was take that money and give it to our community.
Dopeness.
Do you know them ones? Yeah. And it's like, yo, so it's just figuring out the ways. There's always a way to do it. Do you know them ones? And as long as you don't let that erode your character, anything's possible. You know, the problem is when you get them things and you start believing the hype, you start thinking it's all about the money. Do you know them ones? Like, oh, I could, you know. And again, I think there's some people who present themselves in a certain way on certain platforms, and they're not even really about that. Again, it's a tactical thing. I've seen some people strategically do things to get into positions of influence, and they're doing a lot of good shit with the rewards. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, each to their own. As long as you're not doing these things to deliberately corrupt and attack our people, me and you are good. You know, them ones. It's when you're doing them things and are actively fucking up our people, then you're the enemy now. You know.
Yeah, this is from a subscriber, Carter. Just to show that I've opened it up and I've got your gift. Thanks very much for that. And it says cheers. Thanks very much, mate. Yeah, I'll put that up in the studio. All right, so yeah, where's the I want to talk to you about a bit about the artwork for your project. How did that come about, and who's behind the artwork?
It's a lot of great artists, man. It was the first one. I think I mentioned it before. The first one who was really involved was Akua McMorris.
Yes.
She's just this phenomenal photographer. So like, I teach at one university, and she's an alumni at that university. She started the Black Students and Alumni Association, RCA Black, was originally her creation, which has then been recreated by people like Roxanne Simone, who's also in the project, and a whole bunch of other people. And yeah, she came in and gave a talk, and you know, it's mad, bro, because one of the things about I've walked this weird path to end up teaching at this art university, which is quite a prestigious art university, and it's quite odd for me to be there. It feels odd sometimes for me to be there. And there's moments like that when I feel like I'm like blessed to be able to be in this space to just hear someone like her talk. Do you know them ones like, and the jewels she was dropping about. She talks about her perception of photography. It's very male dominated and it's very violent. This idea of shooting, you know, them ones that you bare photographers talk about their thing as like a weapon, you know, them ones like, and the subject, you're the photographer and they're the subject, you know, them ones, you're subjecting someone to this position, right?
Yeah.
Where she breaks that down, right? And she's like, now, you know what? If we're gonna take a photo, she has a project called IC3, where she just walked around. Some people she knew, some people she just walked around the streets like, I'll take a photo with you. And they'd be like, yeah, okay. She said, well, where would you like to be photographed? And she worked with them, collaborated with them to make the shot what they wanted it to be. So it wasn't me, the expert, shooting you. It was, we're going to work together to collaborate to make this thing. And that's been really key to the philosophy of the project. And she has another one called Black Light, where it was her siblings she took in black and white photo, in all black screen with black dark skin faces, right? And she put it up in the hall in the exhibition space with very little light. So the idea is, in order to see us, you need to come closer and look at this thing in detail, right? And if you're black doing that, we need to come closer to each other to be able to see ourselves.
Right.
If you're not black, you need to leave all your preconceptions and come closer and see us for who we are. Do you know them ones? So stuff like this way of thinking about the artistry's really influenced me. Do you know them ones? And so been just blessed to link with. She was the first one. Then Dora Lamb, this live painter, she paints a lot of the jazz scene. She's incredible with what she's doing for the Chinese community and the South and East and Southeast Asian community of London. She's doing a lot of great work. Roxanne Simone, who again is like she brought RCA Black back into the world, created a scholarship for black artists to be able to get funding at the RCA. And she's just this incredible like pioneering metal worker. This woman Melanie Asaka, who's again phenomenal. She's a photographer, but she also does like cyanotyping and photo collage. She's immense in what she does. Goes all over the world showing this work. People like Tate have funded pieces of her work and stuff like that. Really honoured to have her involved. My brother Akil, who again he lives around here. Akil Wilson, who's photographed all of the work that we've been doing all the way through, which is then displayed back in the exhibition. Roshan Jones, who is, and again another like immense multidisciplinary artist who does all these multimedia works. She photographed some of the previous installations, so she's going to be involved. Lucy Gledhill, who makes the jewelry that we wear, just levels in what she does. And Kongwa Shon, she's like this internationally acclaimed multidisciplinary artist. She's done too much for me to even mention, but for her to come from a Korean background and curate the work that we're doing, and then the newest addition is my sis Rispa, who got one of those scholarships for the RCA Black scholarships. She's incredible, uses poetry, uses paint, in all these immense ways. And so we've got just Matt Lewis as well, who's doing the 3D mix of the sound. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be incredible. And just I feel like I'm always forgetting people, bro. Do you know them ones? So it's all written up on the website and everything. Everyone who's there and involved, the dancers, I've mentioned a few times, but it says to me they're all artists. Do you know them ones? This idea to sort of say this person did this and this person that I'm quite bad at it, and I know I got to remember to do it and to make sure I give everyone their props. And they're humble enough to be like, I'm sure it wouldn't matter if I've forgotten somebody, but it's like, I just try to really hail up the village, them ones. And
I hear you, man, but it sounds like there's a load of people involved.
There is, man. But one person I have to big up as well is my brother Fusion, the producer Fusion from BMT, and my sis Rishma from I Am Hip Hop, because they have been integral to getting this thing moving, and my sis Pemba from P-Top Productions. Like without them, this thing wouldn't be happening. Do you know them ones? And it's just one of them things where you have your core team of people who just sacrifice so much they just want to see the thing happen. Do you know them ones? And will just extend a hand and help as much as they can. It's amazing, man. So yeah, them, everyone involved. It's just real powerful team, man.
Could you give the viewers an insight to what you've got installed when you're dealing with the third EP and the film?
Yeah, so we've got we managed to get some funding in from the RCA Research Development Fund, so they gave us some money to be able to get this show to where it's going. And as part of that, we had research and development on the third film, so we've already shot a lot of it. Jimmy Chiba's come back in as one of the videographers, and we've done this work where we're trying to move from a space of captivity to a space of freedom. I kind of don't want to say too much about. I want it to be seen. Do you know them ones? Like, I want it to be seen and experienced, but at the same time, one of the key elements of it is this idea of petit morinage. I don't know if you're too familiar with that, but it's like I wasn't familiar with it until very recently. But you know, you have the Maroons in the Caribbean, right? To be a Maroon, you would liberate yourself from the plantation and you draw a land around your land. And the Maroons in Jamaica, they don't say it enough, but they were the first independent people in that part of the world after colonialism. Do you know them ones? Because they're not even necessarily Jamaican. I mean, they are at odds to the colony. This is their land. It's independent. They're indigenous. Do you know them ones? Yeah. But this idea of Fred Moulton and Sadiq Hartman, the people I learned it from, this idea of petit morinage, where what our ancestors would do sometimes is go just off the plantation and live in like the trees and live in swamplands and live in sort of inhospitable places like mangroves, you know, them ones. And to be just off the plantation, maybe you even think at some point I'm going to go back, you know, them ones. But just be living in this kind of in-between of not quite freedom but not quite captive, as opposed to being fully free and independent, right? Really interesting concept for me, because I feel like a lot of us live like that. Do you know them ones where we're in this, you know, we don't commit to going all in and go working the 9 to 5 and just working our way up some corporate ladder, because we know that ain't who we are. Right? We ain't gonna try and get into the music industry and be, you know, breaking ourselves to help Universal make a bunch of money. Do you know them ones? Like,
that's right.
And so we have to keep one foot in this world, but we're living in our freedom in as many ways as we can. You know them ones. So that as a concept has been really, really key to this. And so yeah, we're working on the film. The EP will come along with that in the same way that part 1 and part 2 came out. And then we're building up to putting the whole album out together. And like I said, I'd love that to be a live version. Do you know what I mean? With Denver and then playing the music when we'll get there. It will come. I'm not sure on the date of when things are going to come out, but that's the kind of next phase of this is part 3. Drummer Warrior Storyteller part 3.
Well, I wish you lot all the best with that, and I hope it cements and structures to exactly how you want it, because it's dope how it is already. So for it to get another chapter, another extension, brilliant.
Appreciate you, bro. Definitely.
3 questions for you. First one, slightly coming away from what we've just been speaking about. What is EOW in your words?
So to me, EOW stands for End of the Week, which is to me it's an international hip hop community, right? And it was started in the year 2000 by some visionaries out in New York who they overstood the power of the rap battle. You know what I mean? As a thing that is, it's a revolutionary act. Do you know them ones? To say we're not gonna shoot each other, we're gonna battle, and whoever loses the battle has to walk away. You shake hands, everyone lives, right? It's a revolutionary thing. But over the time, especially at that time, it started getting very, very extreme. You know them ones, yeah. And so they were like, yo, there has to be another way for us to keep that competitive edge in rapping, but have it in a way that tests the skills that are necessary rather than just ripping each other down. And so they came up with the challenge. I don't know if you can see this on the thing, but man's got the logo on my shirt. This is the EOW London logo, and we have the 5 elements, right?
Okay.
Which is of the skills that they defined at that time to be what is necessary to be a dope MC.
Yeah.
Which is the written round. You perform your own track.
Yeah.
You have the freestyle grab bag round, where you have to take things out the bag and freestyle about them. You have the a cappella round, which is where you just have to no beat. You can't hide behind the dope beat. You have to let the word sound power come out of you. And then you have what we call it, some people call it the beat juggling, some people call it DJ versus MC, whereas the DJ will throw you any track and you just got to rap over it. Do you know them ones? Like, so those are the first 4 rounds, and then the 5th round is the cypher, where you have to be able to work with other MCs to be able to make something dope.
Okay.
And so that as a set of skills needed to be a fire MC is what we stand for, and it's spread from New York to 20 plus countries around the world doing this competition, and then every year we come together to do a world final. So we crown a champion in wherever country we're at, and we come together and have a world champion. And it's been going on for 24 years now.
That's dope.
Just you know, and spread all around the world. My big brother Vice Versus was one of those founders who passed away in 2020. There's a lot for a lot of us to deal with. That was supposed to be our 20-year anniversary. Instead, we lost one of our founders. You know what I mean? And so it's been a lot to deal with. But he's kind of put us into the next phase through, you know, there's been the Vice Versus Foundation, which has been come out of that, and yeah, we're looking to do our world final this year in Uganda. So going back to Uganda, 2014 one was in Uganda. So it's like all these things are just lining up, man, and we're just big up my EO Dub family. I'm trying to get on the camera there. Big up the EO Dub family around the world, man. You get me?
Question 2: why is EOW needed in today's hip hop movement?
I think for that reason there, bruv, you know them ones, because it's a lot of people say they're the best.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that they're dope. A lot of people say that they can do this and they can do that. You know what I mean? But I've seen people who say them things come into this competition and just crumble in certain rounds. Bruv. You know them ones, like, and it's not even to say they're not dope. You can still be dope. Do you know them ones? But to be like a rounded MC, right? You see, it's mad because Lupe Fiasco and Royce da 5'9" got into beef. Their podcast stopped happening because Lupe brought EO Dub to that podcast, right? And was like, the best rapper in the world, objectively, is Osiris Anthem because he's the EO Dub champion. Right? Everyone else can just say this, but he's gone through something that's made him a 2-time world champion. He's the best in the world. And Lupe has been flying the flag for us hard since that moment. Do you know them ones, yeah? He's teaching at the MIT University, a hip-hop class, and he's figuring out ways to show that EO Dub is the way to demonstrate that this is how you demonstrate that you're a dope MC. Do you know them ones? So it's needed because too much of hip-hop is getting watered down. Too much of it is being used for just violence, and you know, even as much as I appreciate how dope battling is, just cussing each other to me ain't the way to build us up. Do you know them ones? So that EO Dub becomes necessary at that place where, to demonstrate the power and the skill of artistry, we need to have a criteria of what we're saying is dope if we're going to say something is dope.
EO Dub sounds like that's the dojo.
It is.
Yeah,
it
and
really
a lot of man
is.
can't hang in the dojo.
Exactly, bruv. Exactly.
Yeah. Right, so last question on EO Dub. What is the future of EO Dub?
Well, it's another 25 years first. We're going to keep doing this thing and keep building. We are, like I said, our final this year should be in November or December in Uganda. We're trying to get into more chapters. Like, I was one of the people who, with my brother Jackson Turner, who also passed away, my brother General Hugh, Dredam, MC Weber, C-Jam and the fam out there in China. We started EOW China, and so we're now on every continent apart from Antarctica. So it's just more countries, more MCs, more skill, more talent. And we want it to be something where we've had a lot of people pass through EOW, we've gone on to do amazing things, you know, them ones. Whereas what we want now is to be able to make that springboard even stronger. So it's like by coming through EOW, you're immediately onto doing great things.
Yeah.
You know them ones? That's the goal. And that's what it's going to become, definitely.
That's dope, bro. Much love, man.
Nah, man, it's been a great conversation, bro. Appreciate
Love,
you.
respect.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
What's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.